What's up, everybody? I hope y'all are having a wonderful day. My name's Anthony, and today we're going to talk about starting your victory garden. Let's go. In this video, we're going to talk about growing your victory garden, or your V garden for virus, or whatever you want to call it. Because a lot of people out there are seeing how fragile the supply system is, the grocery store system, all that is, and they're seeing a lot of emptiness at the grocery store. And we don't know exactly what's going to happen in terms of throughout the summertime going into the wintertime when it comes down, is this going to get better, is it going to get worse? So if you have the opportunity, if you have land, if you have a backyard, something to where you can actually grow things, it would probably be a really good idea to try around and tinker in growing your own stuff. And from what I can see at a lot of the garden stores and the box stores is a lot of people are trying gardening for the first time. So that's why I want to do this video, to try to help out those who may be doing that for the first time. My experienced gardeners, please do me a favor and stick around to the end, because I would love to actually ask your help. You'll see what I'm talking about in a second. But for my new gardeners, or for my new people that really want to start getting into growing your own food, this video is for you. First things first, we have to figure out what zone you actually live in. Now I'm going to put a link down below in the description to find out, using your zip code, what growing zone you are. Because a lot of times, things that may work for me may not work for y'all. And that's why I wanted to put this video, because I guarantee you there are a bunch of people out there that live in different growing zones that have different things that work and don't work for them. The first things that you really do need to consider is season. What are you going to grow and what season you're in? Because things that may work in the springtime or fall may not work in the summertime, depending on your location, because there are such things called cool weather crops and warm weather crops. Now, a lot of newbies don't understand that. That's why I wanted to try to bring it to y'all and show you the actual difference between what happens when you try to grow a cool weather crop in warm weather. First thing we're going to talk about is cool weather crops. And when I say cool weather crops, I'm talking about things that like it below 70 degrees. Things that grow very well with cooler nights. You know, the days don't really get past 70, and that's what we're going to talk about. So first things first, brassicas. That is your Brussels sprouts, you know, your broccoli, cauliflower, those kind of things. Brassicas really do enjoy being right around that freezing temperature, and sometimes they'll actually even taste better after a freeze. So that's why it's very good to do early in the season in the springtime, or very late in the season in the fall. Unless you live, you know, hardcore up north, where you can kind of get away with it growing during the summertime, because it never really gets that hot. Now, same thing with root vegetables. Root vegetables also like it very cool outside. Root vegetables meaning rutabaga, turnips, radishes, and beets. And one thing about radishes, if you've ever grown them, especially during, you know, let them go a little bit too long during the summertime, the hotter it gets outside, the spicier they get. So if you leave radishes in the ground and it gets over 80, 90, you're gonna notice that radish turns from a nice, cool, crisp into a very spicy, almost pepper-like root vegetable. So another thing is spinach, kale, collard greens. They like it cool. Same with your chars, celery, lettuces, peas, and leeks, onions, that kind of thing. Now, one thing I wanted to mention, and why I say it's a cool weather crop and why it's so important, is because if you've ever tried growing lettuce, brassicas, whatever, and you leave them in the ground, or you try to grow them in the summertime, one of the big things that happens is they bolt. You'll hear the term bolting. So what that basically means is the plant no longer gives you the, you know, actual whatever you're trying to grow it for. So say we'll use broccoli for an example. All right, broccoli turns into a nice big plant, maybe 3 feet tall, and at the top, you know, you'll get the heads of broccoli. Well, once it gets over about 80 degrees, it bolts. And by the term bolt, I mean it's no longer concerned with making broccoli heads, it's concerned with shooting up a flower. We use the term bolting, like when I talk about collard greens. I will show you a picture right after this about what actually collard greens are supposed to look like, and then what they look like when they bolt. Because all it is sending a flower up and going to seed. So you're not getting what you actually want from the plant, it's just straight going to seed. Which is good if you actually want to collect seeds, but it's bad if you want to eat, because a lot of times you sacrifice flavor and what you're actually looking for when it goes directly to seed. That brings me to my warm weather crops, the things that grow very well when it gets warmer outside. When I say warm weather, I'm talking about things that like it over 70, and sometimes the seeds won't even germinate, meaning the seeds won't sprout unless the temperature is above 60 degrees. And these are the things like your nightshades, your standard nightshades, so eggplant, peppers, and tomatoes. Potatoes are also a nightshade. They like it cooler, but for the most part, most of your nightshades, especially tomatoes, like it when it's over 70 degrees. They don't usually grow very well if the soil temperature drops below 50. Other ones are beans, beans, legumes, peanuts. They like it when it's warm. Same with sunflowers and your curcubits. Curcubits are your squashes, your cucumbers, your melons, those kind of things. They like it when it's warm. A lot of times, especially when it comes down to cucumbers, they won't even germinate unless the soil temperature is above 65, 70 degrees. So they are a warm weather loving plant. Now, one thing I wanted to mention for some of y'all newer growers, when you hear summer squash and winter squash, that doesn't mean the season that you grow it. That's basically meaning the storage ability of the fruits. So when you get a summer squash, the little summer squash, that's good for, a week or two. They don't really store very well. But when you get winter squash, like your butternuts, your spaghetti squash, those have a very hard rind and they will store throughout the winter. So they still are grown in the summertime, but they have a very long shelf life, so you can eat them during the wintertime. That's why they're called winter squash. And because I'm in Zone 8A, for those of you who don't know, I am in South Carolina, the northern part of South Carolina, closer to the mountains. I'm in Zone 8A. I have a very, very hot season, a very hot summer being in the south, hot and humid. So there are certain crops that even if they are warm weather crops, they don't do very well when it gets past 90. So when it comes down to things like peppers and tomatoes, they grow very well between 70 and 90 degrees. But once it hits 90, peppers start dropping their blooms and tomatoes basically go into pause mode. They do not want to produce, they do not want to flower, they just want to kind of sit still, maintain, chill until temperatures drop down below 90. So during the heat of the summer, the middle of the summer, between July and August, where it's just unbearable, there's only a few things that actually grow pretty well, and I wanted to bring those up here, and that is corn. I've noticed my corn does very well no matter how hot it gets. Okra. So if you live, especially in the south, you better be growing some okra. Okra is one of my absolute best producers when it gets overnight. It could be 105 degrees outside. As long as it's got a little bit of water, boom, I'm still getting 2 to 3 okra per plant every single day. And sweet potatoes. I'll put a video down below in my description for my first harvest of sweet potatoes last year, which I don't know if I'm going to grow them again this year. I might, we'll see. But those are the 3 things that I've noticed grow very well when it gets really hot outside. All right, now for my experienced gardeners. There's a reason why I wanted y'all to stick around, because obviously you've heard the whole thing and I want to know your experiences, whatever zone you are in. So if you're in zone 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever, let me know what works out well and what doesn't work out well for you, and put it down in the comment section below. That way the newer gardeners or the new people that really want to start being able to grow your own things can get a good idea of what they should and shouldn't be growing in their area. Kind of a culminating, hey, help out other people that may not know what you do because you've been doing it for so long, and things that you may have learned a long time ago you think is common knowledge. There's a lot of things that I know that I don't realize a lot of people don't know. So that's why we need to go ahead and as a community put down below what works for certain climates. That way the people watching this that really want to grow a garden for the first time can absolutely be somewhat successful. That way they're not being discouraged by having failure after failure like we may have had to. All right, y'all, that'll about do it for this video. One thing I wanted to mention is please go over and check out Old School Prepper. She's doing something similar. And I'm actually buying into the whole idea. I like it as well, where people that are experienced in this are making videos to try to help out those who are not experienced. So if we can give a little bit of knowledge, then that's absolutely what I want. So she's doing a lot of things, how she's kind of going with her gardening for the year, and I really like that idea. That's why I want to make videos that kind of are curtailed to the newer gardener. That's why I did this one, and I will be doing a few more as well. I'll post a link down to her channel down below. Please go check her out. With that being said, I hope you learned something from this video. I will be posting, like I said, a few more, trying to help out some of y'all later on this week and next week. If you learned something from this video, please go ahead and give me that thumbs up. It really does help out my channel. Subscribe, and I will catch y'all later, okay? Bye.